As we're going to learn now a Sikha that the Rebbe spoke by a Farbrengen that was 3 days after the Yom Kippur War. Kippur War was Yom Kippur, Tavshin Lamed Daled. 3 days later, Yud Gimel Tishrei Balayla, by night, it was the yard site of the Rebbe Marash. The Rebbe was Farbrengen. And then, if you know a little bit of the history, the first week, two, even 3 weeks of the Yom Kippur War was very, very serious. It was a terrible, terrible situation.
It was Yom Kippur Tafshin Lamed.
That's right.
1973
1973, the Kvar Lamed Daled. So the Rebbe right away addresses in the Sikha Kemat at the beginning of the Farbrengen. What are we doing for Farbrengen? Yidden are fighting. Yidden are going to war. What's going on over here? So, again, I'm going to skip around different parts over here in the Sikha. So we're going to skip, first of all, to Beis, because the beginning is just an introduction about the Rebbe Marash and why we're having the Farbrengen by night and so on. So we're going to go to Ois Beis. V'lechurem yesh tzoyrech ba'azbara b'shah sheyesh makim sheyehudim oimdim bal mulchama. Doesn't make a difference where. Anywhere in the world. But the very fact that anywhere in the world there's Yidden that are going to war, true, we're not there, we're here. But if there's anywhere in the world that Yidden are fighting, how can you make a Farbrengen? And the Rebbe a lot of times emphasized that it doesn't make a difference whether it's Eretz Yisrael or whether it's somewhere else. We still have a reason to, we need to defend whatever place Yidden live in, whether the defense is in Eretz Yisrael, in Crown Heights, in Argentina, it doesn't make a difference. This was said by the Rebbe Marash's yard site. Arunter vim lo yicholim azay medalgim al mayla riber el leilech lechatchila riber. The Rebbe Marash's teaching and Hira was, and this is what the Rebbe's approach is concerning Milchemes Yom Kippurim 3 days after the war broke out. Don't go from the bottom. Don't act as if you are being in a war and you need to do this. You have to go lechatchila riber. You have to make a Farbrengen. You have to say l'chaim. You have to say words of Torah. You have to get together with other Yidden. You have to do everything in a positive way, in a way of l'chatchila riber, because that was the message of the Rebbe Marash. The Rebbe Marash did things that were completely out of this world, in a way of moifsim, in a revealed way. The Rebbe in other Farbrengen spoke about l'chatchila riber of the Rebbe Marash in different things. For example, when the Russian government was making a lot of anti-Semitic attacks against the Yidden, and they caused pogroms, that Yidden were being killed in different places. So the Rebbe Marash told the Russian government, if you don't put a stop to this, I'm going to go to Chutz La'aretz, outside, in other words, Chutz La'aretz meaning outside of Russia, and I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody they should know that the Russian government is doing this to the Yidden. This is the way he talks to the Russian government. The Russian government can take him and kill him, or they can send him off to Siberia. But that was the Rebbe Marash's style, l'chatchila riber. He said the things the way they are. And then the Rebbe says like this. And this, even though when the Rebbe said it was between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, but it's still, what the Rebbe is about to say right now applies to us now as well, because we're still in the middle of Tishrei. The Rebbe, everything wants to bring down in Nigla, in something that can be understood according to halacha even. So he says, "Kimeduber kama pamim shekol inyan tzarech achiza benigla v'ad ledin," where the thing has a halacha that concerns this. So the Rebbe is going to bring a proof from halacha how we are supposed to act these days. Yom ha'ilula sh'admu marash chal b'yom shebehem eina inyan shal amiras Tachanun, k'may shekasav Rabbeinu Hazaken b'siddur שמערב יום כיפר עד סוף תשרי אין העניין של אמירס תחנון בנפילס אפיים וכולו ככל הפרוטים שמוין רבינו הזקן בסידורי. In other words, this is a time of what the Rebbe is going to explain. It's something has to do with Simcha, with the opposite of Tachanun. This is a question that the Rebbe a lot of times addresses in other things. Yom Tov Shorosh and Shechayis b'Shabbos. You don't blow shofar. But what's going to be with everything that shofar needs to accomplish? So the answer that Chassidus gives, that the Rebbe says, is that Shabbos automatically accomplishes it. The same thing, when we don't say Tachanun, it's not Chas v'Sholom that whatever Tachanun needs to accomplish, we're missing. צריכים לפעול על ידי אמירס תחנון ונפילס אפיים, in his gulas yomim elu שזה נעשה דווקא על ידי השלילה של אמירס תחנון ונפילס אפיים. In other words, not begging. The Rebbe is going to explain soon that the word tachanun is from the word tachnunim. Not going in a way of begging, but going in a way of simcha, the Rebbe is going to explain, would accomplish at least as much as what tachanun would accomplish. So now the Rebbe is going to say the important part of the fact that it's in a siddur. The fact that it's in a siddur means this is something that should be obvious and clear to everyone, because everybody uses a siddur. The kivim shasiddur arach rabbeinu hazaken b'toy davar hashav l'koil afilu yoser ma'asher hashulchan aruch. And he says because the Shulchan Aruch you need more analysis, you need to use your brain more. Kivim shalimat hashulchan aruch doirish simas leiv v'diuk v'chulu. Mashenkin hasiddur shes kukim elov gimel pamim b'chol yom. You got to daven from it. Shachris mincha ma'ariv. Nois l'kach shagam bin time yesh in yom shel brochos v'chulu shiyot b'shavu b'siddur. So really, you need a siddur more than 3 times a day. You say birchas hamazon, you need a siddur. You say krishon shalom miti, you need a siddur. You say brochos birchas shachar in the morning, you need a siddur. You're benching, you need a siddur. So all these types of things you need a siddur for. So siddur is constantly with the yid, and this says in the siddur. And this, what says in the siddur was that inyan shashayich la noshim afil lataf. כפי שרואים במיוחד בנגיע סדר החינוך, שלפני שהילד נעשה בין 5 שנים למקרא, לא עומדים עם הסדר. כפי שמביא רבינו הזקן בריש של תלמוד תורה, שהתינוק משיעסקו לדבר, אביו מלמדי תורה. והרי העניינים שלא עומדים עם אז, א' בייס וגם פסוקים, קשורים עם סדר. What do they teach him? Siddur things. So therefore, the hayra from this thing is applicable to everybody. Hare muven shagam hayra anal sheme'erev yom kippur ad soif hachodesh, which we're in right now, in this period of time, ein oimrim tachnun hi hayra sheyechoylo li es muvenes lekulam anoshim noshim v'taf. V'kiven shagam hei mevinim she'inyan atachnun hu kishmoy shetzrichim levakish v'lifoil ois beten davar ma. It's very interesting. We don't call tachnun vidui. That's what it is, vidui. Hashamnu bagadnu gazal. We call it tachnun. What does tachnun mean? From the word tachnunim. We're begging, we're asking, we're requesting, mavakshim. What's the reason why you're being mischanan? You're being mischanan because you need something. So if Shulchan Aruch, if the Siddur says that we're not saying tachnun, that doesn't mean chas v'sholom that we're not going to have the things that we need. No, it means that even without the tachnunim, even without the bakashas, we can have it. Mevinim hem shebeyamim elu nifalim inyanim elu dafke aidei shlilas amiras tachnun. And what does the not saying tachnun mean? Shezel simen al English shel simcha, and that's milchat chila riber. Going arunter means I have to beg and I have to cry and I have to make, fast days, chas v'sholom, and things like that. But if we're doing it in a way of shlilas amiras tachnun, we're doing it in a way of simcha, that is the derech v'lachat chila riber. Now again, remember, this is 3 days after the breakout of the war. There were Israelis, bachrim, and adults that had families in Eretz Yisrael that were there in 770 listening to this. And there were the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael listening to this. via hookup, I believe, because the hookups already started in Tafshin Lamed, and the Shidur. And this is what the Rebbe is saying. This is the gang, not Arunter, but L'chatchila Riber. Then the next piece the Rebbe speaks about has to do with the idea of L'David Hashem Oidi, but we're going to skip the 3 paragraphs to the top of the next page, page 7, the second paragraph from the top. The Indians that kosher gam im Torah Sabal Shem Tov, Yisrach and Barditchev Kosev Shabbat Shem Tov Vayatomid Chayzel Ofnei Hakol. Very interesting point. The Rebbe points out that this was something that the Baal Shem Tov would always chazer. There are verter from the Baal Shem Tov, there are verter from the Yitzchak Barditchev, there are verter from the Zishon Magid, but it wasn't something necessarily that they always repeated. The Rebbe emphasizes that this following word, the Baal Shem Tov always repeated. Similar to what the Rebbe explains concerning Hu Haya Omer and Pirkei Avos. What does it mean, Hu Haya Omer? It doesn't say Amar Rabbi Yeshua, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Hillel. It says Hu Haya Omer. What's Hu Haya Omer mean? Hu Haya Omer means that this was something that they constantly said. They lived with it. They focused on it. They chazed us over. The same thing, the Baal Shem Tov always said the following. Al pasuk Havaya Tzilcha Shakadosh Baruch Hu K'mo Tzel Shel Yehudi Keshem Shatzel Oisa Oisam Tnuis Sheoisa Ha'adam Shememenu Nasa Tzel Kach Gam Havaya Tzilcha Shekefi Sheyehudi Misnaig Lamata Kach Oisa Gam HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kiviyachol. Literally the same thing. And then the Rebbe is going to bring in an amazing Zohar. Zeu gam mashakasav bezoyar tochazi. Come and see, and he's going to say kigavno, what a yid acts down here, it affects above. But beforehand, in the brackets, the Rebbe is going to say a very interesting thing. In Gemara, we have a lashon toshma, come and hear. In the Zohar, it says tochazi. Why is that? Okay, meduber kama pamim shalosh na raga b'limud b'nigla Torah hu toshma. First, you got to physically hear it. Then you have to think into it. Chazi means right in front of your eyes. Shebedereseinu Eila Nizgalso Beferish Al Yetoris Achsidus, my own stories about Shem Tov, Ula Achrit Zabatoisis Bir Batoris Chabad, Hinimibli Habeit Al Inyan Hagolis. And Golis is a time when things are dark and covered over, and we don't usually see. So still in all, with Pnimis HaTorah, Efsher Lagia Gam Lechazi Inyan Shoriyah. This is the famous thing that the Rebbe brings down in the Sichos, that through Pnimis HaTorah, and the Rashbi are megala, even things that look like they are klolos, they are megala the Brochos in it. And the famous story with Alter Rebbe and the Mittler Rebbe, that once the Alter Rebbe was away by Parshas Kisavoy, and the Mittler Rebbe heard the klolos, and he fainted, and they asked him why. This is not the first time you heard the klolos, and that's because as a Tata late is Garan, that my father reads, it's totally different, because with the power of Pnimis HaTorah, everything is turned over to good. So what does the Zohar say? In a way of chazi, in a way that's open, shekigavna. Kigavna means bedoime. Kefi sheyehudi mara panav melmata, kach marim loy gamel maila. V'kasher Yehudi mara panim shel chedva, marim loy chedva melmaila kvi shazoyar marich bezeh beprotius. Meaning, so Chassidus explains that when there is the level of Hashem's Simcha, since like he's soon going to explain Simcha Peirit together, so that brings down all the brachas Mulmayim. All the brachas that we need for ourselves and for others when we are Besimcha, since we cause Hashem to be Besimcha, this brings down brachas. Tzad kola in yonam anal hari muvan shaderech l'sayeh b'yomim eluhi aydei oifen shel simcha shesimcha poired together, and therefore it breaks through all the negative things. And the Rebbe says another thing. He mentioned before, we're here and they're over there, so we could think that there's no connection between us. And what we're doing here, what impact does it have over there? So if we're saying it's poited together, Simcha's poited together, Gam ha-geder shel hefsek makom gashmi, it also breaks through. And we're connected and joined with Yidden all over in Eretz Yisrael. Which means Chaim kipshutam im kol inyan shaboim yachdim Chaim shenikroim b'chlal mezoyne, like like the expression is, the Rebbe brought it on before. The Gemara says, "Man de yoev Chaim yoev mezoyne." What's the You're going to give us life and not give us what to eat? It doesn't make any sense. V'yum shechlamatam asaret tfachim, the chayis and the mezoynes and all their needs. L'chol echad v'achas from the Yisrael b'chol makom sheheim. One place, far away maybe. Every 10, Yidden, the Shechina is Shoyre. Now, what happens if you have more than 10? Befrat Kama series. So for sure, it brings down hashpahs and brachas for Yidden all over the world. And then the Rebbe goes on and says that it's how much more so, it's connected with the Rebbe Marash, and so on. Let's go on to top of page 9. Let's skip to the top of page 9. Now, a lot of people already know about this, that during the summer, before the Yom Kippur War, the Rebbe was very much pushing the idea of mipi oilim v'yonkim yisal ta'oiz lahashbis oiv misnakim.
What was the reason for that?
You'll find out right now. The Rebbe himself, Ki'ilu said, I don't know why, but let's see inside. Second paragraph from the top. B'meshach kol ha'kayitz dubar oides mipi oilim v'yonkim yisal ta'oiz lahashbis oiv misnakim. V'kishru zoysim ha'maymer divrei maskel v'kibal Yehudim sh'rabbeinu sienim sh'nas tofresh bezayin. The previous Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, when the Stalinist regime was closing down yeshivas, and the Frierdiker Rebbe was making the whole time underground chadorim to teach children. So he said the very children themselves, they will be the one that will give the koiches, their learning Torah will overcome the klippas. So the Rebbe says, now you should know, it's very, very unusual. Davar ma'od nadir, that the Rebbe will speak about himself, and especially in first person to say, I did this, or why did I do this? The Frierdiker Rebbe was a whole different style. The Frierdiker Rebbe, you read in the sichos and letters, I said this, and I had this vision, and I wrote this down, and this is what I saw, whatever. The Rebbe was mamish, completely not talking about himself. Almost. Here, almost. Davar ma'od nadir. This is one of the rare times where the Rebbe speaks about himself. Ma dochaf oisi inyan sheduber b'shnas tafresh peizayin. This is Tafshin Lamed Daled. How many years later? This is like more than 50 years later. The meshach kol hashanim hayuchayzer mizman maimer zeh. Yeah, came yud beis Tammuz. They would chazer this maimer. The Rebbe would say over the maimer. The Rebbe would say mamorim based on the maimer of a kibbutz vayudim. The Rebbe didn't focus and say, let's gather to the kids and let's make kinnusim of kids and so on. So the Rebbe says, Ach nizbarer she'achshav zekukim le'inyan lahashbis oyev misnakim. Now, earlier I skipped a piece over because he was talking about the Chumash. But the Rebbe says that there's an idea of nibba v'lo yodam nibba. Like the Rebbe is saying, I don't know myself why I said it. But the Rebbe was pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And now we see why. Your question is answered. Now, afterwards, we saw why. He says over there that in the Maimer it speaks about, I'll skip this over also, that the Sarim of Dumas Oilam are Mishabeach, the Eibishter, and therefore the Goyim down here will also be mishabech the Eibishter, and also protect his children. Let's skip over to the next paragraph. U'ba'ofen kazeh hu gam ha'inyan de lahash bis oyev misnakim ki ha'pirish de lahash bis hu ki yadua adeis Rab Shimon Rab Yehuda shemizbatel mi yoyse mazik va'adra b'hu oid masayeh b'inyonim shel Yehudi zokuk lehem. The Rebbe says there's a machloikis that it says in the pasuk in Bechukoisai v'ishbati chaya ra min ha'aretz. So the machloikis, what is the meaning of v'ishbati chaya ra min ha'aretz? Either it means v'ishbati chaya ra min ha'aretz that they'll stop being chayes royas. There won't be lions, there won't be bears, there won't be tigers, there won't be these type of animals. A different explanation.
That will not be tigers. That the tigers will not.
That's
be
the
dangerous.
other. That's the. I'm saying to machloikis. There's 2 days.
שלא יהיה מזיקות, זה הפירוש הראשון.
לא זכור לי איזה ראשון ואיזה
לא
שני.
משנה, אבל שלא יהיה טייגר, זה
שלא
הפירוש?
כן, זהו יוצא. מעבירה מן האילם.
אוקיי.
ויש פירוש אחר, that והשבעתי חיירו מן הארץ, שלא יזיקו. They're going to be there. Like it says, v'gar zevim keves, and so on. And the Rebbe says the same thing about the Umas Ha'olam. That the lahash bis oyev misnakim doesn't have to be to destroy the oyev misnakim, but to make the oyev misnakim not just not be an oyev anymore, but that they should actually help out Yidden in everything that Yidden need. Val derech ze benegel l'cham v'kam in yom sheduber b'kayitz, the Rebbe says, Bekoil gamin natzdake, shall zen namer tzim b'mishpati padu v'shaveh b'tzdake, v'ad ba'ifin shal pizur, skip the parentheses. Ukedi isa b'kabolo shepizur makoil b'gemater reish pei ches. That means that when a person gives tzedakah, especially a lot of tzedakah, shebezeh nichlolim kol inyone habirurim shenimshachim merapach nitzutzim shenof lamata lachri hashvira. There is, we know, the Kabbalah and so on. Kiven shetzedakah shkula keneged kol ha-mitzvahs, ubefrat kishenasis boi from the pizur nasen lev yoinim, harehi mailas and etzaitis. So now the Rebbe is going to talk about something painful, which we also see by in our own lives, and it's not chas v'sholem something that's hoyolisia an einish, but it's something that you see that when you do A, B happens. Ach tzorich lahaver bire inyan lamas havai kazois. Shekola inyan yachzer b'yischadish oida pam, that you need the mepiyolim v'yoinkim. It wasn't just enough what took place in Tafresh Peizayin, you need it now again. V'abir b'zeh b'pashta shezel b'glal sheb'shosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu nosan b'matona es hashtochen chulu. Hayu ke'elu sheyitzram onsam. Umiyad is chilul is vakeach v'loymar sheroitzim lahachzir. Dover zeh roitzim lahachzir l'gamri. There's a certain shetach, totally they want to give back. V'dover zeh roitzim lahachzir shloishes revoim. Umatzu b'zeh kama v'kama asbaris. V'af al pi shalachura eich yachol adam yachid lamed neged elu shemetzad taimim misyonim taim mutanu shem medabrim shem kama v'kama. They're saying that they are speaking on behalf of Klal Yisrael, whatever. Ba'omram she'bli habeit al kach she'akadosh baruch hu nasan zoy. So ba'ifin nisi, Hashem gave us all these different places in Eretz Yisrael. And how did He give it? He gave it na noif na vanes. Roitzim lahachzir zoyis. Umevakshim v'shelchim shluchim. The Rebbe said they sent different people through, let's say, the American government. So we want to give back the Kaisel. They want to give back the Kaisel, Rahman al-Islam. They want to give back different parts, and they didn't have direct, contact. So they're sending shluchim. They send the Americans. They send whoever to be mitzayim to send it back. Hariyoidim aydei psaka Rambam. So the Rebbe says like this: Shedvarim elu loy nemru b'shem Klal Yisrael. Afilu loy b'shem Yechidim ibnei Yisrael, va'afilu loy b'shem Atzmam. When a Yid says such a thing, the Rebbe says it's not the Yid talking. Chas v'sholom, a Yid cannot talk such a thing. Kivin shezeu rak beglal shel yitzram onso. Can you imagine I mean, this happened during different times in Lebanon, whatever, that, the terrorists made people say things that they wouldn't have ordinarily said. The Rebbe is saying that we have a terrorist inside of us. We have the Yetzer Hara. And it makes us do and say things that we don't want to say. And when these people were saying we should give back parts of Eretz Yisrael, they had a Yetzer Hara that was honest them. It wasn't them. It wasn't who they are. It's not what they want. It's only the Yetzer Hara. Eda uparhesia, when you have 10 Yidden, it's considered an Eda, right? That's why it's a lot of Benigdashli Besmcha Asmei Yisrael, and it's called Befarhesia. When we have different halachas of certain things that you do Befarhesia, it's when you have 10 Yidden. Va'oimrim, and the Rebbe says, we are now saying, Shemikara de Dina Loihoy Shumakim Lahachzer Mashakadosh Baruch Hu Nosam. And the Rebbe says, Afilu Elohi Noisin Zois B'derech HaTeva. Even if it was a natural way how we got these parts of Eretz Yisrael, so we wouldn't have, we're not allowed to give back what the Eibusher gave us. How much more so when we got it in a way of a nes. Again, this is so much shaykh in Yanenu. Where is all this tzaras coming from? All this tzaras is coming from a place that we had. That we had given back. We had it, and we gave it back.
Okay, it's not back. We gave it to them.
Whatever, we gave it. Yeah, we gave it to them. You're right. It's not even back. You're right. Okay, fisher maschal rashi perushal atoira chumash bereishis sheberetzoyne nasna lahem va'acharcha beretzoyne not lamahem nasna lanu harikivim sheberetzoyne nasna lanu, like it says right away in the beginning of the first rashi in Chumash. Hinekain Yakum. Whatever a person wants to do, they can't undo what the Eibishter did. Va'af echad eine balabayis ladaber boifen kach or boifen kach. So the Rebbe says we're making this fabrengen to announce ubemela tzorach lahachris b'maimed asara misrol ubefratsh nimtzoin kan kama asiris misrol lifsoik v'loymar bekoil ram shehem loy dibru b'shem klal Yisrael. All these people that wanted to give back, loy b'shem kvutza b'Yisrael, va'afilu loy b'shem atzvam, ela zehoya rak metoich oynes sheyitzram ansam. Ubefrat she'achshav, bevadai tofsu gam heim echa yenir ha'matzav v'yam meil rachman l'slan, im hoya machzirim chas shalom afilu chetzi or shloich tzrivi kilometer. That in that time, the same people that a while before said that they should give shtachim to the Arabs, they realized after Yom Kippur, any peace that they would have given back would have made things so much worse. Hari bevade sha'akshav roim gam hemis gishol na noira kach shedeburim elu loya shalahem al yisram ansam. Okay, Yehudim machrizim as anal. In other words, we got to speak clearly. We got to speak openly. ובפרט כשמכריזים זויס במקום קודש בבית הכנסת ובבית המדרש. ועל כמה וכמה כשמכריזים זויס בדל דם של רבינו סיינו כבודש מוירך מאדמו"ר, הרי בוודאי שכן יקום, והשיריים של התיינה אולי יש כסול כדאיתך לקחס משהו בחזור, that they should take it, בגלל שנמצא יהודי שאומר שרצויני להחזיר, הרי זה מזבט לידי הכרוז הנ"ל. By us in 770, the Rebbe is saying that we're not allowed to give anything back, that goes against it all. This reminds me also that what the Rebbe is saying is here, how careful we have to even be with our words. The Rebbe was expressed himself. I'll say it after this, something about a different situation where even a Hava Mina caused something that was like not the way it was supposed to be. So he's saying, loy Omer Zois Yehudi. A Yid didn't say it. Loy nafshe lekis. Va'afilu loy nafshe Bahamis. Ela Yisrei ansoi kedivrei harambam betur psak din. V'chol anasafim yanu al ze amen sha'apir shel amenu emes V'amana shekenu. The Rebbe said that everybody should announce, should say Amen. V'inyin zayifal etzlam u'ba'olam. She is battle kol ksal kedaitach v'amaslois v'chulu she yichol misvakeach shem l'mi shayach shal zeh o yalacher zeh shayach l'bnei Yisrael u'ba'ofen shal bris oilam shekaras HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'bris bein absorim u'lefnei shonim achodes hichzer zois l'bnei Yisrael b'ofen nisi chen yakum la'ad olam elamim ad bias Mashiach tzidkenu she'oz yikablu gam eret keni knizi v'kadmoini Kiven she yekuyim hayiyot ki yarch v'Hashem alkecha z'gevucha.